Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the digitally downloaded podcast, digitally uploaded. My name is Alan. I'm going to be your host for today. We've actually got a lot of people on to the point where I'm very confused. I'm always confused, but now it's just more for confusion. It's a real problem. Help me. So we've, like I said, we've got a lot of people on. First off, let's start with Trent. Hello, Trent.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Are you good?
Yes, I'm good. I'm in the good place.
That's a good place to be.
Yes.
That was so stilted. We also have Lee. Hello, Lee.
It's good evening where I am, and good morning to you.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad that you picked up on that, because that's why I do that introduction. That's actually why, because we had so many international. It's a very international podcast. All right, moving on. We have an international person next. It's Ginny. Hello, all the way from New Zealand.
International person, like I'm halfway around the fucking world.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, good morning.
Hi, Ginny. This is the worst introduction. Hello, Harvard.
Hello, Ellen. Have confidence. This is the best introduction.
Thanks, Mom.
What did I ever do to you?
Okay.
And of course, we have Matt as well. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
I'm so sorry that this has to go up on your site. So we've got some news this week because there are so many of us. I'm not going to have any news because I'm not exciting. I'm a bland child. So who wants to go first with their news? Who's got the buzz? The bee. Ginny, you've got some buzz.
That sounds really illicit, but sure.
It's clearly cocaine.
It is clearly, well, you know what's about as addictive as cocaine? Farming Simulator, huh? Farming Simulator.
Wow. Look, I'm in rehab. Can we not go? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so Farming Simulator, for those that aren't in rehab and are fine to consume this product, there's going to be an esports league for Farming Simulator. I know. When I read that news article, I thought it was hallucinating. I thought I don't know, hit my head and
Competitive crop growing.
Yeah. Legit. So what they're going to do is they're going to have 10 tournaments that will take place across Europe, where people will basically they'll be like farming against each other or some shit. I don't know. They'll be doing farm-related stuff.
How does that even work? Is it like who can breed the chickens the fastest? Because
who can make the chooks the fuck?
I think I've read this. There's actually events, so different people can compete in different events for different farm activities.
Yeah, they had a Farming Simulator Championship Series last year and had like competitive events that were to do with like agriculture. So there's even like a Farming Simulator custom controller for people that really, really, really want to farm hard. It's like it simulates a fucking tractor. Anyway, the point of the story is that people can basically win up to $280,000 doing this stuff.
No way.
I'm serious.
I like that.
Apparently, it's going to be like a regular thing. So, like, once the first competitive season ends, the team with the most points at the end will go to what's called FarmCon 2020 to be to fight the team with the next most points to see who becomes the Farming Simulator champion.
This also sounds like a joke.
No, this is real.
Nah.
This is actually real.
It's like too close to FurCon, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
you all make
Where's
fun
that
of
280,000 coming
Farm
from?
Simulator is brilliant.
Farm Simulator is good.
You all make fun of it, and it's not. It's great. It should be hardcore. It's better than League of Legends, let's face it.
Okay, all right. Let's not get hasty now.
I just don't see how it's going to be exciting.
Come home to roost.
Look, I don't know how it's going to be exciting either, but you know, each to his own.
Well, you'll say that you don't know how these games are going to be exciting. Then you play one, and then you're like, "Whoa, this is good. This is the stuff."
Yeah, Matt. I was listening in on Matt's conversation when he was playing Farming Simulator for the first time, and he just said, "Whoa, this is good," and that was confirmed.
This is sick.
Oh. And then he started playing a bunch of Green Day in the background as well.
Nice. And then he tweeted out "Gamers Rise Up."
Yeah. And then he had a heated gaming moment.
Anyway, that's my news. Anybody else have anything meaningful to add?
My news is that Matt had a heated gaming moment, apparently. So,
Alan, you already had your news. You said you had no news.
All right. Who wants to go next with the news?
I'll throw in my 2 cents. So signing into Smash Brothers today, I think it was as of today, or maybe last night, I'm not sure. 2.0 is coming out in a week, I
Are
believe.
they going to fix the broken online?
Now. I don't know about all that. Sorry?
Someone muzzle Ellen. The minute you start talking about Smash Brothers, you muzzle Ellen.
But I wanted to point out the curiosity that it's actually a full version upgrade, like from 1. I think it's 1.4.1 or something that we're at right now, or 1.2.1, and it's going up to 2.0. And yeah, there's going to be like that balance changes and such, and there's very likely going to be the Piranha Plant released because there was no official release date for that. It was just supposedly around February, and that's about as around February as you can get. But I'm curious as to whether or not they'll fix what I had the biggest issue with was the in classic mode, like the very silly running from the void bonus stage that's in every character's classic mode thing. I just think I'm hoping that they add, like break the targets or some other cool modes, or maybe do something nicer with arena hosting, because that's a very ungraceful system.
Yeah, it's almost like Nintendo doesn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah,
I do want to say though, if they could just patch out every single character except for Donkey Kong, that's all right.
Alan, I'm going to be realistic. If what's going to happen is the reason why it's a 2.0 release is it now has support for DLC. The older games most likely didn't have the component or support for DLC. So it's now going to be 2.0. It's going to have DLC put support so the base game can work with DLC components. And Joker is going to be released. That's my 2 cents.
Ooh, you think it's going to be that early? I'm not sure. How else would the data miners? I'm sorry. How else would the data miners have been getting their information so far if they haven't been able to access DLC files though?
Yeah.
Well, I believe that they have the time.
You guys are all way too obsessed with Smash Brothers. Next.
Can I wave my 2 cents before we move on the Smash?
Is everyone throwing in the 2 cents for some reason?
We all have cents, Alan. I'm super annoyed at the way they do balance updates. They do balance updates and they just say updated balance for these characters, and they do not say like what they changed.
To be fair, it's better than what they did before, which they didn't even tell you what characters it was. So now at least the Smash scientists have a little hint to go into their labs with.
They never needed to do balance updates anyway.
I mean, I don't want to watch a 60-minute YouTube video where someone compares attacks.
People who take Smash too seriously need to get a life. Next,
let's move on to the best news ever. Metroid Prime 4 got delayed. Woo!
Why is that the best news ever?
Yeah,
because that means
game.
True. But it also means that Nintendo has no game for this year. That means Animal Crossing's coming in. Woo!
Wait, what?
Think so?
Smash the Fire Emblem's coming out this year, dude.
How do they have nothing for the entire year, man?
Fire Emblem's coming out this year.
Yeah, Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Also, Wargroove is coming out this year.
Wargroove is coming out like in like a week.
2 days, yeah.
Wait, what?
Nintendo.
That doesn't matter.
Guys, calm down a bit. The February game section is next. All right, so they've released basically a 3-minute video, which is like a nice apology going, we're so sorry, we had to delay the game. Originally, it was with another developer, but now it's with Metro Studios again. Everyone who's excited for Metroid cheers and forgets the delay. The end.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't. Honestly, if the game's good, NBD.
Yeah, I mean, the previous game was obviously not up to expectations, so they've moved it to the developer that's proven that they know how to do Metroid. Good on them.
Yeah.
Good news. It's all good all around. And yeah, it's worth waiting for, so wait for it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Damn straight.
Is that...
Finally, just quickly, I just want to mention a bit of news that I quite liked. I hadn't heard about this game before for some reason, I don't know why, but there was a dev diary thing that was put out for A Plague Tale, Innocence, this week, and yeah, that game's right on my radar now. It looks really good. It's about, well, you play as a girl and her brother in France, I think it is France, during the Black Plague, and yeah, you got to survive all the rats and disease and Inquisition.
I like surviving rats.
It looks pretty good. It looks actually really good. The developer doesn't have a huge heritage, unfortunately, but the game is looking really good, and it could be very interesting stuff. There aren't many games made about Black Plague and ye old days back then. So yeah, that one is. Have a look at it. Have a look at the dev diary. You'll see why it's exciting.
Alrighty.
Oh, the image of the game shows so many rats. Ugh, so many rats.
Apparently, they animated like a million rats on screen at once or something. It's some ridiculous.
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous number of rats.
Instead of zombies, it's like, how many rats per like screen.
Yeah.
Rats per square inch. And with that, we're going to move on to some music from Miku. Ginny, I'm going to ask you to be quiet for a moment while I introduce the music. I don't know what the music is.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so it's basically the end of the month, which, as everybody who listens into the podcast knows, that means we look at the games coming out next month and talk about all the exciting stuff there. And February is shaping up pretty damn good, if you ask me. So we kick things off with Etrian Odyssey Nexus. Comes out on February 5. That is going to be the last Etrian Odyssey game. Mark my words, I'm going to be right about that. Sad days, but without any consoles with dual screens anymore, Etrian Odyssey doesn't work as a franchise. So buy that game and enjoy it, and it'll be the last one. Then we have BlazBlue Central Fiction coming out on Switch on February 7. That's obviously a port of an old game, but it's the best 2D fighting game. Shut up, Alan.
You're just wrong. You're just actually wrong, and I don't understand how you can be that wrong.
Okay. You're wrong. You're
Yeah,
all
good criticism. Look at this. Look at this good criticism between two game people.
Alan, go
right.
back on mute.
That's about right, really. Okay, so God Eater 3 comes out on February 8th. I believe that is like a Monster Hunter nonsense thing.
Yeah, it's like anime Monster Hunter.
Yeah, so cool. Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, that's the expansion coming out on PC on February 14th. That's well worth looking forward to because that's got Maori in it, it does. Crackdown 3 comes out on February 15th. I'm sure somebody out there is excited about that.
I'm excited because Terry Crews.
Yeah, Terry Crews just made that game hype F. So.
He's a nice boy. He's a very nice. He's also potentially in Mortal Kombat too, which should be pretty cool.
What do you mean, like just Terry Crews the person in one? What?
Yeah, like, he's been tweeting with Ed Boon about being Jax, which I like.
Oh, I thought they were just
no
gonna
way.
put in Terry Crews and have him beat up people.
For the game.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll go back to my muted state.
Why not? Why not?
I return to my cave.
Far Cry New Dawn comes out on February 15th. Boo. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. We actually have an interview with the developer on this podcast.
Jesus Christ.
The PR actually listens to that. It's a
Jesus
wonderful
Christ.
game. It is the bestest game ever made. Let's move on. Jump Force comes out on February 15th. That's like the character mashup thing with all
What
the
about
various...
Skip Force?
Ooh.
Alan.
Funny boy.
The hardest take.
For people that want to get back into Phoenix Wright, the Ace Attorney trilogy comes out
Yes.
on PS4 and Xbox One next month.
No Switch?
Yes, Switch.
Oh,
That's
Switch. Okay.
That's really cool. Play it on the Switch because those games are best done handheld.
I
anyway.
never played them.
Metro Exodus comes out on February 22, and that looks good.
Oh
That's
yeah, that'll be
good.
really good.
The original two games were good, so let's hope this one's good as well. And then Anno 1800 comes out on February 26. Anno's a really good little strategy series. I enjoy those city builders. They're good. And then finally, Anthem.
I said with so much excitement.
Anthem.
Is anyone
Full stop.
before we actually continue on?
Bye BioWare. This will be their last game, so maybe.
Oh no.
No, don't say that, you piece of shit.
No, it's the Battlefield BioWare. It's
We
fine.
can dream.
We could, yeah. I mean, if Anthem turns out how it looks like it's going to turn out, Ginny, I'll be quite happy to see BioWare.
But what about Dragon Age?
Yeah, but imagine Dragon Age in a world post Anthem. I don't know. I think BioWare needs to retire. All the talents left, they're all gone.
My biggest problem with this entire situation is that no one I've talked to has been like, yeah, Anthem.
Also,
No, some
EA.
people have.
Yeah.
We talked about how shit EA was in the last podcast. Let's talk about them again. Look at
It's
what
incredibly
they're
hot take. EA sucks. Yeah, God. Gamers rise.
Anyway, well,
Sorry.
we all know that Alan's really looking forward to some Crackdown game or something. Crackdown game.
Wait, which one?
Ginny, what are you looking forward to? What's your for the month?
I can leave.
I am looking forward to God Eater because it comes out on my birthday. Not only because of that, but it is. I love Monster Hunter related shit, and I love anime related shit. So when you slap both of them together, that is like two of the things that I love. It's just missing one thing, titties. But apart from that, the rest of it looks great.
How much have you rehearsed that line?
What do you mean?
But it's just
sound a
one
little
thing.
bit like
Well,
Ginny doesn't need to rehearse that line because she uses it on a daily basis.
Isn't that technically rehearsing?
okay, listen, Ellen. You were perfectly happy to talk about titties for an hour the other night. So
I was not.
Mm,
Also,
okay.
we need to
Okay. Anyway, so God Eater 3. Love it. Love that shit. I am kind of two minds about Anthem because I want it to do well so I can get Dragon Age 4. Like, I really, really, really want another Dragon Age game. So part of me might even just hate buy Anthem just so that just so that I don't know, I do my part in contributing to the BioWare meat grinder, and they will one day produce a Dragon Age game for me to spend all my money on. But yes, I mean I guess apart from that, there's nothing super engaging. I would like to have time for Metro Exodus because it looks really cool, and what I've seen so far of it looks like it's a really interesting take on, or I suppose an interesting addition of survival mechanics in a way that makes it more compelling than, I don't know, punching a bear in the face like in Far Cry 5. But
I mean, Kenny, we'll technically be playing Dead or Alive 6 in February because we'll get review code, I guess.
Well, I mean, then I will technically also be looking forward to Dead or Alive, which will fill the hole left by God Eater 3. So yeah, I guess that's me. That's me wrapped. Simple taste, dinosaurs, anime, titties.
And bad BioWare games.
Fuck you.
I mean,
Have a little faith.
yeah. Okay, so
I have
my
faith,
pick is
Alfred.
gonna be Metro Exodus because I'm living in Sydney and it's like 40 degrees outside, and I feel like playing a game about being in winter is gonna help me.
Just happens to be nuclear, but that's okay. It's just a level, and it's still good. It's still good.
Dude, it's 40 degrees outside. Any winter is a good winter, okay? But yeah, it looks interesting. They're expanding the story, and it looks like it's got like the atmosphere and the tone down pat, and that's really what I look for. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first two games were pretty unique in that they were aggressively focused on like what they wanted to do. It was very like bullet point focus, which I liked.
yeah,
and
man,
it's story-driven shooter stuff.
Yeah,
which is
it was
good.
very Half-Life-esque in its
Hey,
sort of structure,
you got to shoot both Nazis and commies. That was pretty good.
and also horrible demons from hell.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, can I spoil the original Metro Exodus?
No,
You better not, because people might actually play it. Because
No, the original Metro. Oh, actually,
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think they were necessarily the best-selling games out there, and people might want to pick them up.
Okay,
I've
that's
only
fair.
played like the first 3 hours. Don't spoil it for me.
Okay. But if you have played the original Metro, you'll know where my joke was going. How about that?
it's about trains because they're in the metro.
Next person.
Can I say what I wanted to play? Am I allowed?
Yeah, you are.
Dirt
Crackdown
Rally 2.
Rally 2.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Oh, that comes
Dirt
out
Rally-
too.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good.
Yeah, that'll be pretty
That's
good.
it. It looks really good. It does. I know. I really like Dirt 1. And like
And
Dirt
Monster
Rally 1.
Energy Supercross too. While we're talking
Oh,
about
great.
turkey racing games.
Great. Wait, Hoagie, excuse me. No, you're just bad at it. If you think it's Hoagie, you're just genuinely bad at it.
I
You can
said
play
Hoagie.
games wrong.
Hoagie. You said Hoagie. I didn't.
Oh, okay. Blame the audio quality.
The
Anyway.
worst people listening online can just go back and see what the truth was.
Yeah,
I would never
let's go
say
back in time. There we go. I'm gonna edit that out.
No.
All right,
Edit
Lee,
everything
you
out.
better tell us which game you'll be playing in February before we go.
Before something explodes. Okay.
Yeah.
My brain. just
There's some cool stuff coming to the Switch shops. Looks like a lot of stuff that was already on Steam, but there's this Magic Scroll Tactics. This looks interesting because it's a side-scrolling tactical RPG, which is a sentence I never thought I would say. But apart from that, and I've already played this before, but I am excited to see it come to the Switch. Thea the Awakening. You guys ever play that one? And it's so it's sort of like a city building kind of strategy, and it's like narrated by
Yes.
like it's someone. He sounds like a dungeon master.
That's the one that was made by the Civ guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're the ones like Civ, but
Is it?
narrative.
I didn't know that.
It's not made by the Civ guy, but it is kind of. It looks like Civ. People go.
It is very similar to Civ, but instead of control, your city doesn't move, but you control like bands of units, or you can just like put all your units into one. But you risk like your city getting attacked or some random event happening. It just has that like D&D feel mixed with Civilization that's really cool. I poured want to say like 100 or so hours into the PC version. They're actually making a Thea 2 that's in early access right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just found that and it looks good.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
I mean, for me, it's not. I don't get the. I mean, I know it's based on a hex-based grid, the map and stuff, so it kind of looks like Civ. It doesn't really play anything like Civ because you're not building units or not in the same way that you do in Civ. It doesn't have the tech tree upgrades and all that kind of stuff. It's more for me. It's
What is
more
the tech trade?
or not much of a one. It's a very minimal one compared to Civ. for me, it's more like a kind of role playing, story driven game. And it's based in Slavic mythology, which is really neat. And yeah,
Just drink a lot of rakia.
It's a good game. It's coming out on Switch. It's a good game. It's well worth looking into. And yeah, I'm playing it for review on Switch, and I can say without breaking embargo, probably.
That's always good when you can say probably.
Probably. It plays kind of like I'm not noticing any faults in it compared to the PS4 version, which I played previously. Speaking of very super niche games, I did forget to mention one that is coming out in February because it's not on my list. Bad US Gamer, never read them.
Yeah, only get your news from digitally downloaded, doesn't it?
It's a Nipponichi puzzle platformer called The Blind Prince and the Liar Princess. No, The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. And it's really good. Oh shit, that's a breach of embargo. It's
Matt, can you not?
I can do that. It is a puzzle platformer that is really exciting. Nipponichi actually makes really good puzzle platformers. They did it with The Rose in the Twilight on the Vita, and yeah, this one's also based in fairy tales and stuff. And just go and watch videos of it. It's very aesthetically interesting. And
let's just have all the Matt's pissed off in this whole podcast.
Yeah, this is not going well. Trent, you better tell us quickly which game you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm not going to say Metro, even though I might pick it up at some point. So we're not going to go back down that track. And
track.
Wow. And I've already played Nier, so I'm not interested into the game or whatever it is edition. Constructor finally comes out. I might pick that up. That sounds cool. It's like an old game, but like it's remade.
The simulator. Yeah, but the one that's about ruining other people's buildings and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's on PS4.
Ruining other people's things.
It's coming on Switch this month, is it?
I don't know if it's coming on Switch, already on Switch, but it's coming on other platforms according to that article I linked to you earlier. So it must be true.
It's already on PS4.
No one lies in media. No one's ever lied in media. So.
Yes, but the list that you linked, Trent, also had Total War coming out in February,
which is in March now.
Yeah, it's March.
I'm so upset by that. I'm so
marches to the beat of his own drum.
Need to wait an extra month now for Lubu Dong.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move this on. I'm gonna make the veto here and say we're gonna play some Kingdom Hearts music because Kingdom Hearts has just come out.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. When this podcast comes out,
Kingdom Hearts will be out. Yeah.
This is
cool.
the future.
Let me face my fears.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be an apocalypse right before Kingdom Hearts comes out.
We're going to get invaded by a Heartless the 28th.
Something in the cosmos does not want people to play that game. So
it's just you because you don't want people to play the game.
It's that bad.
Anyway, Kingdom Hearts. And welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. Yeah. I'm going to edit that out.
No, you can leave it in.
I'm going to leave it in. I'm leaving it in now. We're doing it. So in the last week or so, by the time this podcast goes up, you would have probably had access to Resident Evil 2, the remake made by Capcom to recreate the entirety of the game within a Resident Evil 4 styled system. If you have seen anything about this game, you would know that it looks fantastic. It probably plays fantastic as well if you played the demo, and sounds horrible, which is great. So the game is doing quite well as well based off initial sales stuff. At least I'm seeing a lot of people saying on Twitter and everything that they've picked the game up. So it sort of made me think, with the advent of the remake and remaster world that we seem to be put in, is there a game that we can all sort of semi-agree on that needs to be remade a little bit?
Yes,
Because I was
Onimusha. I'm so pissed off they remade Resident Evil 2 and not Onimusha. They just put out a HD remaster of.
I think that's because they didn't know if Onimusha would sell. That's the issue.
Probably fair call on that, but I think we can all agree that a proper remake of Onimusha would be good, especially given how good Neo was. And if they did Onimusha, but with
I believe that Onimusha's doing pretty well so far. It was on the Switch charts for a while. It was doing pretty well, so it's not out of the entire world of question if it does get a remake in the next 10 or so years. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, I'd be all for that. I'd love it. It'd be great. I can't get enough of Japanese demons and stuff. So give me more.
Well, because there was only a 6-year gap between Resident Evil 1 and the remake of Resident Evil 1, so it's there is no real time limit, I guess, and especially with the sort of advent of people playing more and more PS1 and PS2 games on PS4, for example, or on the PS Classic, which is not the way to do it. Do not do that. You are wrong. Do not do that. It is a joke of a system. It doesn't seem completely out of the idea that we could end up with something like Parasite Eve again, which I think would be fantastic.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way to play Parasite with one heel.
No, there's no way at all, which is why it could be a really good idea. Square Enix, do it. But then also it would be ended up being headed by the man who cannot finish games, though, which would mean it would never come out.
yeah, the Final Fantasy VII dude.
Like, I love Nomura, but he needs to just focus on one thing.
He's busy.
And now that Kingdom Hearts is over,
He's a busy boy.
I know, but he has to stop putting belts on everyone.
It's like a 15-year-old joke, Alan.
Okay.
When we see Kingdom Hearts come out in 3 days, I'm pretty sure there's going to be belts everywhere. So
It's literally just the belt game.
the belt game.
Yeah.
Kingdom
The
Hearts
belt
3, here comes the belt.
Kingdom Belts.
Isn't that just like a really dire metaphor for like? No, I'm not gonna go there. Okay.
No, I knew it's not.
Speaking of classic horror games, we could also have a remake of Silent Hill
No, that'll never happen.
I've actually never played Silent Hill 2. I'm curious about it.
It's one of the best games ever made.
I played Silent Hill 1 and I just can't get into it because it's just so
unplayable.
Yeah, the controls are just like, what is happening? What am I doing?
Yeah, you're gonna struggle with 2.
So you have it. The best Silent Hill has already gotten a remake, and that was Shattered Memories.
Was Homecoming actually?
I feel like that's a hot take, but I don't actually know the.
You're all very bad people. Silent Hill 3 is the best.
3 is very good. Yeah, I don't know how likely that is to get a remake though, just because Konami is Konami, and they don't seem to know what they are doing outside of Japan stuff. So it's a bit sad.
A remake of Project 02 would also be quite welcome.
I was going to say Project Gotham would be good.
No, they did a remake of Project 02 like last year, last generation of consoles.
No, they did a HD port of it. A HD port, I mean a Wii port, which means not very HD at all. Yeah, they haven't.
Shouldn't we on your ports?
They have not done a remake and or port of Project 02. That's for sure.
Oh,
And
actually, speaking
while I'm
of
reading requests for horror games, let's also have a remake of Forbidden Siren 2, please, Sony. Stop making Ghost of Tsushima and make Silent Hill.
Every time you say Ghost of Tsushima, I get more and more vitriol.
you say it in such an offended voice.
By the end of the year, if I just think Sony, it's just a long stream of curse words about Ghost of Tsushima. The way I'm going.
I can respect that.
Because it's going to be terrible. But yeah, Forbidden Siren, that would be good. That was Sony when Sony was good.
Is that the one with the giant dude that wasn't evil, but
That's the one. No, that's the one where you jump into people's brains.
Yeah, you can sight jack.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a
Which is pretty cool.
This
I
sounds like an average Saturday morning for Alan, really.
I like
Yeah, I go into other people's brain.
Yeah,
That's very mean.
nothing like that. What about you? Are you looking forward to games that don't involve such action? Or would you like to see HD remakes of games?
Okay, do you know what? Do you know what I want? Do you know what I want an HD remake of? Like, I want an HD remake of Pokemon Snap.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I want. Like, I think that the Switch would be like perfect for it. Like, I think it would just be, it's just time. Like, while we're riding this nostalgia high from the Pokemon remakes, which are basically Pokemon Eevee and fucking Pikachu, now the RE remake, there's like all this other stuff that people are banking on nostalgia wise. Give us Pokemon Snap. Like, give me something, please.
What about VR Pokemon Snap.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Nintendo doesn't know how to do VR, dude.
Nintendo doesn't know.
No,
what they're
I
doing.
know.
Full stop.
I know. That was a long shot.
Love it.
The worst thing about Pokemon Snap is that they have a very small window to release it before the next generation don't know what cameras are.
Oh, good point.
It's Pokemon.
They should cash in right fucking now before they release the next major Pokemon mainline game.
No, it's Pokemon Snapchat.
Yeah, delay the mainline game. Release a 3-minute video. Do that. Pokemon Snap this year. Do it.
Pokemon Snapchat.
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't. I can't believe they didn't do Pokemon Snap with the Wii U because that was.
It was built for that console.
Every console Nintendo has made.
Nintendo had one game they could have made for the Wii U and they didn't make it. The idiots.
Instead, they made Devil's Third.
Hey, guys, give me a HD remaster of Devil's.
Give me a non-bad version of Devil's Third.
Oh, you're so mean, Alan.
Yes.
You're just so mean.
Yes.
You're a mean boy. You're a mean boy.
I don't like the tone that you're using.
Howard, give us a HD. Well, not a HD. A full remake that you'd like of an old game.
So, I've been playing a lot of Smash lately, and you know how they have the old spirits of old games? It's just like Nintendo's way of teasing that they haven't forgotten the franchise when really they've absolutely forgotten the franchise.
It's like when you forget to buy a Christmas present for someone and you go to the gas station and pick up like a muffin. And it's what you're getting.
I've never done that, but that's a perfect metaphor for what this is. Anyways, they have characters from Pandora's Tower in Smash.
Oh yeah.
Like, they have the rights to it. They have the old Wii version that is hard to play because they got the weird motion controls. Like they could do something good out of it.
Yeah, that would be great.
On that topic actually as well is the last story.
The last story, yeah.
That needs
All
to
I know about the game is the character designs. Looks alright.
Yeah.
Looks like opera mixed with.
It was a bad game.
Oh well.
Alright, well, Matt hates fun. Confirmed.
It was the worst. You know how they had that trilogy, that unofficial trilogy of 3 JRPGs that all the
Blue
boys
Dragon last story.
No. All the white boys made a.
Oh no,
Nintendo wasn't going to bring them out of Japan, and that was
so Xenoblade Last Story and Pandora's Tower.
Yeah, of those 3, the last story was the one.
I thought you were going to say Xenoblade Last Story and Panic at the Disco.
But yeah, Pandora's Tower was great. It was probably the one that was least recognized. Of
We eat things, right?
It was really good. What?
It's the one we eat things, right?
Yeah, it was about making your girlfriend eat meat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
But the funny thing
worded that very badly.
The funny thing was she's a vegetarian, so she's got to eat these hard things to survive. Because she's like gagging on them as she's eating them.
It's actually not sexual at all. It's a very like operatic story about having to sacrifice yourself for someone else.
I'll never forget. It's the most affecting thing I've ever seen in a JRPG. It's just like
I bet.
She's chowing down on these hearts, and they're bloody and raw. He didn't even cook them for her, and she's just chowing down on them. She's gagging because she can't. She's a vegetarian.
Can you stop using that word?
I absolutely regret saying this game should be remastered.
I don't think you know what that word means.
Leave it to history.
No, I know exactly what that word means.
I'm so sorry, everyone listening at home.
Harvard's a little loud on the podcast.
I am very
This
sorry.
is like the R18 podcast.
It's almost like
when
it's
we
your
had-
fault, Ginny.
This is when we had Tyler on and had to talk about beat him and eat him for like half an hour.
Oh, that's the person we're missing. We didn't have Tyler this week. We had almost a trifecta of like
Fighters were here.
curse cast.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tyler would like a HD remake of Beat 'em and Eat 'em.
I hate that so much. All right, well let's cut to the chase here and get away from
We
this.
didn't give Trent a
Trent, what would you like?
Yeah, maybe I want
Anything else on the menu apart from gagging? You know? Let's
No,
just throw
no
it out there.
gagging, no anything like that. What? I don't want anything from GameCube era because that was shit. Unless they're going to remake Harvest Moon,
Excuse
A Wonderful Life,
me.
which was the
Okay.
last
A Wonderful Life? Fuck out of here,
last
Trent.
good Harvest Moon. But what I do want is
If you're about to say gag, you're gonna scream.
no gagging is in it. I want basically all the Sing games like Harvest Moon, wow, Another Code, Hotel Dusk, all that. I want them remastered and I want them on the Switch.
That's a good
Okay.
call.
Yeah,
Actually, I've never played like all those games, Hotel Dusk, Ghost Trick, or whatever.
Ghost Trick's really good.
Ghost Trick's great.
It's on iPad too.
It is.
It's good
And it
gameplay
works
on iPad.
Yeah, because it's all touchscreen and stuff.
Yeah.
Just press the screen and stuff happens. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, let's go for some Phoenix Wright music because it looks the
No,
same.
no, Pandora's Tower. That's good
No.
music. It's good music, Alan.
It
I
is
promise.
good music, but it's much too much of a downer. You can play Phoenix Wright and just get everyone
No,
hyped up.
no, we'll play Phoenix Wright last. Let's do Pandora's Tower. Let's get people hyped for the game. It's good. I promise.
That's not trustworthy at all.
It actually is very good.
I promise you. I promise you.
There's too much gagging.
If you look past the subjects, it's actually a very good game.
It really
Music
is.
time. Music time.
It's like Castlevania.
I told you, music time.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, for the last section of the podcast this week, we actually have a bit of a treat. Ubisoft is out there promoting their next Far Cry game quite heavily, and they flew their narrative director down to Australia to do interviews with media and stuff. I had the chance to go along and chat with this fella. So we're actually going to publish the interview verbatim and in full for the podcast. So kick back, enjoy, listen, and yeah, that's it for the podcast this week. We'll have some music at the end, and that music will be from whatever Alan chooses.
It's gonna be Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright, and we'll be back next week. Thanks very much.
I was so dejected for that. Anyway.
So today I've got with me James Nadiger, the narrative director. Is that your
The
title?
narrative director of Far Cry New Dawn.
There we go. The narrative director of Far Cry New Dawn. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thanks for coming.
So I've been playing the game, I guess the introductory chapters or the act, and yeah, obviously it feels very much like a Far Cry game, which is good. I guess my first question for you would be, what what is your intent to what kind of narrative were you trying to draw out of this game? What's the purpose of the story in New Dawn?
Well, when we were coming up with the ending of Far Cry 5, which was centered around the Doomsday cult, when we made the choice to end that game on an actual Doomsday, we all got really excited because, one, while we knew that was going to be the end of that game, we knew that it gave us a chance to take Far Cry into a post-apocalypse landscape, which is something that we've been wanting to do for some time because I think the genre suits the Far Cry experience very well. As well, we created a place in the world, Hope County, and a cast of characters that we were really growing attached to, and we wanted the chance to revisit them, but in a different context. So New Dawn is a standalone sequel to Far Cry 5, but it's a new story. You inhabit a new player character. So if you've played Far Cry 5 and finished it, you'll be able to sort of reunite with some old friends and some old foes. But if you've never played 5 or a Far Cry, it's a fresh experience that you can jump right in and you won't miss a beat.
Okay, sure. And what is it about? I mean, you mentioned there that you think that the post-apocalyptic kind of setting and genre fits Far Cry well. What is it about Far Cry that you think does fit with the genre of the post-apocalyptic kind of storytelling?
I think what brings a Far Cry experience is being dropped into a beautiful but hostile wilderness, like a very inviting open world, but a dangerous one. Transforming yourself from the hunted, whether it's from predatory animals or people, to the hunter, going up against an overwhelming force and coming out stronger on the other side. And I think a post-apocalypse is maybe the most lawless of frontiers, so I think it's something we were super eager to dive into and put our own sort of Far Cry spin on it. Okay,
sure. And what about, I guess, the apocalypse means you think that it might play out this way in terms of the way that humanity kind of re-emerges from the wasteland, and why is it so hostile? I mean, why did you think that is how, in the scenario, humanity would end up being like that?
When we were researching what we wanted our open world to be like, we consulted with a couple meteorologists who specialize in making different models of different possible nuclear scenarios, from like a singular bomb to all the bombs and sort of everything in between them. They work with different governments and things. So we crafted an apocalypse scenario to sort of suit our gameplay purposes. And what we found was, in a lot of these models, overwhelmingly, there were sort of two paths to survival. If you happen to live in a place where you could grow crops and sort of there were animals to hunt, then you could gradually rebuild a decent life for yourself. It would be hard work, but it would be there. And that's what you see in the Hope County survivors. They were able to recreate makeshift farms and sort of live off the land, and life was pretty good. But on the other side of that equation, you have the highwaymen, who came from a place where they weren't able to rebuild, or they don't have the skills or that knowledge, so they take things. And it's really in Hope County where the clash of these two sort of survival styles comes into play.
Okay, so the highwaymen come from an area where there's no resources? Is that the thing?
The highwaymen started in the ruins of a city on the eastern seaboard. Just after the bombs dropped, they took over the docks, which gave them a lot of handy supplies. They had some weapons, they had vehicles, they had gas, they had food, but they had no knowledge of how to survive. So when all those things went away and there was nothing left in the city, there's no stores, right? And everyone else is fighting over the same scarce resources. They were forced out onto the road. And when they went out into the world, they saw that everyone was as desperate and as ruthless as they were, because they were all fighting over the same resources. So that's where the look of the highwaymen came. They had to start becoming sort of larger than life bandits. So they incorporated the motocross gear and the graffiti from a Montreal graffiti artist named Xylon to make themselves sort of like this urban legend. So you would hear about the highwaymen and then you would hear them coming. To sort of have that reputation, that fearsome reputation, precede them.
Okay, so, and I guess the following question to that is, the fearsome reputation that you're talking about, do you still see, or will the narrative explore, I guess, a way to look at these people as in a more sympathetic light as well? Mm-hmm. I mean, or are they just a very kind of black and white kind of, cartoonish villain?
No, I think the The interesting thing about all the Far Cry villains is that they all believe wholeheartedly that what they're doing, however questionable, is the only sane way to live in the space that they inhabit. They believe it, and they will try to convince you, the player, to see the world through their eyes. And as you progress through the story and go up against the twins, you are in opposition, but you will get glimpses of where they come from, why they see the world the way that they do, and what sort of put them on this path.
Okay, sure. Was the Western a genre that was, did it inspire Far Cry? Because as I was playing it, I got a very strong sense of the kind of the Western aesthetic and the idea of, as you mentioned, you're on the frontier, and it's there's that kind of romanticization of, hard work being a decent living. Set against, I guess, the highwaymen who are coming in and taking things, and they're not living a decent living kind of way. So, I mean, that to me, that immediately said kind of Western. Was that something that actually was like an overt source of inspiration?
It was definitely a source of inspiration. I don't know that I would say it was like the primary source, but I think just the fact of being set in Montana, being a follow-up to 5, that Montanan spirit of pulling up your bootstraps and doing work yourself, does extend into the world of Far Cry New Dawn, where they, in some ways, have gone back to a very sort of frontier lifestyle with farming and stuff, but still there's some scraps of knowledge. If you can make ethanol and you can sort of get a generator working on ethanol, then you can still have a bit of luxury. What we haven't lost is the knowledge. What we've lost is really like either the skills or the resources to make it happen. So. Yeah, definitely that sort of frontier lifestyle was an influence, but again, it's one layer on the whole Far Cry experience in this apocalypse.
Okay, sure. As a narrative, or I guess as the narrative director of the game, I mean, one of the things that I guess is quite obvious about Ubisoft games is that there are common threads about how the game is structured mechanically. They're about the open world, they're about following, icons around and having plenty of different directions that you can go at any one point in time. Is it hard to write a story for a game and make it really distinctive and original when I guess there's a certain structure about how the game is designed mechanically? Do you find it a challenge to tell stories that are interesting and different within that kind of context?
Every game presents its own unique challenges, but I think what sets Far Cry apart is that it's really about the player's choices and the player's story. And so what we try to do is work and create systems that support and reinforce or push back against the choices that you yourself make. So even though it might be your ultimate destiny to have a showdown with these twin sisters, we want to give as much freedom as we can into how you get to that point. So it can be challenging, but it's also part of the fun. We want to make sure everyone feels empowered to approach the gameplay, the narrative, and all these choices in their own way.
Is tonal consistency a challenge when writing something of this kind of scale? Because the way that the missions are structured is they're kind of short vignettes. They're quite short little self-contained stories with a broader arc kind of linking them together in a way. Is it difficult to make sure that there's a tonal consistency throughout the narrative when you've got that many different stories to work with, and the links between them can at times seem a little bit soft, for want of a better word?
I understand what you're saying. I think again, going back to the idea of player choice, the idea of consistency can seem soft or not, depending on how you progress through the game. I think we always like to say on Far Cry, like, truth is stranger than fiction, and if you look at real life, things can be very serious, but at the same time border on the absurd in our everyday lives, and in that respect, I think Far Cry is like that. You can go from something quite dramatic and serious to something a little less so very quickly, or if it's your choice and you're following a certain thread or a certain character's story, you stay in that character's tone or space until the very end before you move on to the next thing. So there are players who will bounce around and the tone will bounce around with them. There are some players who will be very focused, and then the world for them will be very focused.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I've just been told I've only got one more question to ask you. Are there any particular deeper themes that you wanted to explore within this game? Because I mean, you've got the overarching story, you've got the nuclear wasteland, you've got that tension between people looking to try to survive within it. But if you look at other apocalyptic stories in kind of other media, like for instance, The Road, or those kinds of texts, there's multiple layers of other things that you can dig into, and it becomes quite a complex kind of story. Were there any kind of deeper themes that you tried to tease out through this story, which might not be so, I guess, overt to a player immediately, but on a second play, replay, third replay, those themes start kind of come to the surface?
I think on the one hand, every group in the game, the survivors, New Eden and the Highwaymen, have their sort of own vision of how to act in the world that they live in, whether they are selfish or selfless, in a world where you do sort of have to look out for number one. So I think that's a theme that gets embodied in how the different groups behave. And then I think as well, because we're a standalone sequel to Far Cry 5, there's also, and this is shown in sort of the Rye family dynamic, there's a bit of a generational story being told, that Nick and Kim Rye returned from Far Cry 5, but they're a little bit of the old guard. They're a bit too attached to the world that came before, and it's their daughter Carmina's turn to sort of step up and inherit this world and it's the only world she's ever known. So she's not sort of shackled by nostalgia or a yearning for a past that can never come again. So that's kind of a fun dynamic to play with the different perspectives of people who understand sort of what came before and what they feel they've lost, whereas the people who only see opportunities ahead of them and just want a chance to make the most of it.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Wish you all the best with the game. I'm
Thank
sure
you
it's
very
going to be
much.
great, and a lot of people love it, I'm sure. Thanks very much for your time.